Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. Celtic know how to do it, don't they? They put out a social media post last night, and it's got to be said that some of the Celtic fans weren't happy with it. Weren't happy at all with the new Adidas range that was brought out at 8 o'clock this morning on the Celtic website. So what we're going to do, just by magic, is we're going to just do this. We're going to change screens and we're going to have a look at some of the outrage from the Celtic fans. Obviously, Celtic putting out a brand new set of Adidas trainers last night, and some of the posts right under it. Here come the where is Tierney? This is not Tierney. Scroll if you don't like them. Jesus Christ, man, our support are getting worse than the Huns. Always complaining about something. Interesting one. Next one. New Sannies, £40 pre-season friendlies, £720 season books. No Kieran Tierney announced. How about you shut up? F off. Nobody gives a shit. There's a shift in our club. There seems to that profit is always before everything. And did we not get a striker in January that our manager required? Season book holders are not happy regarding Newcastle game. At this stage, it's just get their money. Why not treat the product as quality product on the park? To do that, you need a lot more quality in the door. Sign quality players. Another pair of shite Celtic trainers. It's not KT's birthday tomorrow. Give some special presents and have him and a picture of him. You slept in, says. The next one, KT officially announced on social media. And these trainers tomorrow is Mr. Celtic. Cannot stress enough. Another one, F off. Nice, but won't buy Adidas. Slave labour. Nice, where's KT? Halfers 20 Jesus. I knew you couldn't go a full day without selling something, says the Francis Connor CSC. Unless it's Tierney, I'm not interested. And then it goes on and on and on. How about signings? How about signings? Jesus, not Sambas or Gazelles. And when you look at them, they're not good trainers. And there's quite a lot going down the same route. So have Celtic missed the point with this? And after not too long ago, they put before the end of the season, they put out the new strip. They put out the new strip early. They're now bringing out a new set of trainers during the summer before anyone actually manages to even see a new player coming into Celtic. And I've got to say, I don't like them. It's those silly plastic heels, soles on them, isn't it? And there's no real Sambas. I mean, I've got a pair of Sambas that are better than them, and they're from about 10 years ago that Adidas brought out. And anyway, the cost, if I was to buy them, it would be €102.95. Or you can go to any Celtic related JD Sports and pick up a similar player just without the Celtic on the side for around about 80 quid in the sale. I'm just saying. Anyway, what did you think about the Sambas? Have Celtic missed a point? A lot of our fans seem to think so. It's going to be one of those days, isn't it? You can tell when it's a bit of a slow news week. Anyway, let's jump into the comments on the channel. Lanky says, good morning, Troops. Just spot him in to say have an awesome day. He's away fishing today. Not happy with the Newcastle prices. There's not a lot of people. And actually, there's another article came up from Newcastle fans talking about the Newcastle game. When are the second and third strips out, says Sleekit. Yeah, we all know that Celtic, they look like Adidas Bambas. Yeah, Brown Warrior, they're not Sambas. I should have brought I've got a pair of Sambas for a few years ago. There were better ones than that. They're no Sambas, maybe Bambas. Who cares? I'll not be buying them. Brendan is leaving, isn't he? I have no idea. No, he's not. He's not leaving. One of the funnier comments was, there's Paul, the Tim's new trainers. Anyway, Luke McCowan. Let's get some Celtic news. Luke McCowan went back to his former high school yesterday to wish the under-14s good luck for the cup final. The Greenock footballer returned to the Notre Dame High School, where he gave youngsters some tips before their big Scottish Cup match. On their Facebook page, it says that Luke was so generous with his time, and he inspired the young footballers with his humility and his integrity. He's one of the good guys, isn't he, Luke McCowan? He's a guy that's living the dream. He's a guy that knows his position in the squad. A lot of Celtic fans think he should get more game time. But I think coming into his first season at Celtic, I think that Luke, he has said himself that he is... Willie, man, that was all over social media last night. So... it was all over social media about Maurice Ross being number 2 for them. I kind of laughed at that at the time. But anyway, who cares about them? Who cares about them? Yeah, back to Luke McCowan. Luke McCowan's one of those guys. He came in the last minute of the summer transfer window last year. I mean, he was on his way back up to Dundee when his agent turned and phoned him and says, "Mate, you better turn around at Hart Hill because the deal's on." And it was something like 11:15 at night, so he had to rush back to Celtic Park and just get it done and dusted. I mean, I think we've seen the lights come on at around about 12:15 at night at Celtic Park last September, when Luke McCowan entered the building and he was going onto the pitch, and the smile on his face. I always remember the smile on his face, and that was a supporter walking through the doors. That wasn't just any other player. That was a player that wanted to be there. He's living the dream, and he's done that. He's living the dream like what we would love to do if we were still capable of playing football at any level. Not just even play football at all. But anyway, Luke McCowan, he knows his place within the squad. He knows he's not going to be a first team start every single week, but he knows that he can contribute to the squad. Which takes me to the friendly, because at friendlies it's generally the squad players that get more game time than anything. And after reading an article about the Newcastle United game, the fact that they snapped up their 7,200 tickets within days of them going on sale, and Celtic have been a bit reluctant to take up the ticket allocation. I should actually just go onto the Celtic website and see what tickets are available, aren't they? I mean, I think it's not going to show you many areas that are available, because Celtic will still be thinking that season ticket holders will buy tickets, so it will look a bit more accessible seating. I mean, when you look at it, 25 quid for an adult, 17 for a concession, and under 13s is 12 quid. I've got umbrage with that, because an under 13 season ticket book for the entire season is only 50 quid. So what are Celtic playing at? I mean, it's milk it, isn't it? All for the Adidas Cup on the morning that they bring out a pair of Adidas trainers. I just think that we detect unusual behaviour. Shut up, Celtic. Anyway, it is an interesting thing that they now want more tickets. They want 15,000 tickets, and they're saying that basically they're never going to give us 15,000 tickets, because let's face it, the Glasgow City Police don't want 15,000 Newcastle fans, and Newcastle say that they don't want teams taking over their stadium. Celtic don't want them taking over their stadium, and I'm thinking, did they not watch Scottish football? Because there's lots of games in Scottish football where Celtic fans pretty much take over stadiums. But anyway, it's not going to happen. Celtic will hope to see as many Celtic season ticket holders buy tickets. Soccer legend Dino says, out to rip us off, £100 trainers, 25 quid for a friendly, season ticket prices up again. Richard Smith, get ready for 3 emergency loan buys after we've been pumped out the Champions League, with Near Bitton having played in every outfield position. Empty Celts, Big Rabi says that McCowan hasn't stepped up to his levels. He hasn't stepped up to his level. I think he has. When he's played, I think that he's more than stepped up to the level that he can play at. That's an interesting comment, but there was a couple of games. It looks like the top tier might be shut. Celtic know that they're not going to sell out that game, so they won't open the top tier. McCowan hasn't stepped up to his levels enough to remain on the bench. Interesting. Big season for him to step up or be shipped out. Same for every player, every bench player. I think that's a bit harsh on him. I think that he's one of Dave Morton's in Santa Provo. Should I fly over? Kaiser's in the house. Breaking news. Kaiser's been in hospital. He's not been too well. So give him some love this morning. How's the leg, Kaiser? That's all I'm going to say. Our squad is a joke, full of absolute shite. Yang, McCowan, Ida, the drunk, trusty, not trustworthy, Scabby Scales, and Taylor. Taylor's gone. Sleek it. Somebody got it the wrong side of bed this morning. McCowan is absolute crap SPFL level player. Oh, it's the SPFL that we're playing. Do you know what I mean? So if he's the level of the league, that's more than enough as a squad player. I think people are getting mixed up. Oh, Kaiser. Kaiser's having to wear tights, as he just said. He's having to wear tights. I think a lot of people are getting a bit obsessed with squad players. At any club even at Celtic over the years, you're always going to have squad players that can come in and do a job that are never going to be first team pick. Scott Bain was one, for goodness sake. And look at the way that Scott Bain lasted 7 years at Celtic as number 2 goalkeeper, as stepping in during the COVID season, and he knew his place within the squad. You always need players like Luke McCowan, Tony Ralston. Do you know? Are you going to put Tony Ralston in that bracket? He's not world class, but he's getting picked for Scotland on an ongoing basis. He's one player that's going to go away with the national team this week and play for Scotland this week. So I just think that you have to have a certain level of player within the squad, and then obviously your first team players have to be a little bit a level above. It is what it is. It's football. Our academy is a joke. How can we expect McArdle, Bonner to break through when they're coached by Mutant OD? They're not coached by OD. Sleek it. There's how much you do not know about the club. Darren O'Dee's had nothing to do with the B team for over a year now. Darren O'Dea was made pathway manager, and Darren O'Dea has left Celtic. He's now down at Swansea as their assistant coach. So there you go. Darren O'Dea has had nothing to do with the B team coaching for over a year. I'm just putting it out there. Ralston has one Baz. Do you think so? Kaiser, did you get your wig? you got your tights. Squad players are more important. They have a more important role than it's made out to be. Do they? I think squad players are incumbent to the way that Celtic play, and especially when you're at a club the size of Celtic, when you're going into 4 competitions a year. You know, when the squad gets to a certain quality, your reserve players, if you want to call them, your squad players, the general thinking is that you use your squad players, and Brendan Rodgers tried it last season in the Falkirk game. You bring on these players into the cup games, and you let them fare in the cup. You let them see them going in the cup. It's been done many times over the years at Celtic, when Celtic have used. I mean, there's been times where Celtic have had a big enough squad, and they said they've had 3 teams. They've had a team for Europe, a team for the SPFL, and a team for the cups, the 2 cups. Your squad's a bit smaller than those days, but you should always have a quality of player that is backup to your first team player that should be able to go in cup competitions and go on good runs in cup competitions. Celtic won the cup basically 1 year playing squad players. What's with all the negativity this morning? The negativity maybe comes down to the fact that we started off with that unbelievable post by Celtic. Where is it? There. And the fact that these trainers are at 102 euros if I was to buy them. And they're no Sambas. They're no Sambas. They don't even look like Sambas. And I don't like those stupid plastic things. But anyway, a lot of the Celtic fans online can't play up front unless KT modelling. I don't care. Unless Tierney's get them. Less Clobber, more Tierney. 160 quid trainers incoming. And a lot of the fans weren't happy last night with Celtic's Twitter. I've not went on other ones because you always get the biggest negativity on Twitter, and it's quite funny. Adman, you're 9 minutes late. That's somebody that went on this morning looking for the announcement, and the announcement didn't come on social media. The 8 AM Celtic Park announcement went straight onto the website. Announced KT, get a new striker and I'll buy your Celtic Da shoes. It's 8:15, where's my Celtic Da Sambas? Coming to an airport near you. So yeah, you can understand why a lot of the fans aren't happy when it is just all buy from Celtic. And I don't mean buy as in cheerio. It's get your cash out and spend as much money as you can. Spend every single penny. And there's a lot of fans. There is a lot of fans that go to Celtic games with their families, and it is getting a bit out of control at Celtic. Well, is it getting out of control? We're happy with the money in the bank, and we all say, it's a well-run club. But when you start bringing out 4 strips a season, and then add on to the 4 strips a season, and this is what happens when you get into bed with a company like Adidas. It is all about buying the merchandise and making as much profit off the customer as possible. The lifetime value, they call it in business, and they will know that there's when they have a fan that buys a season ticket, that's Celtic will say, well, that's £720 in the bank. It's like, what is the lifetime value of that customer? How many years can we get that customer to buy a season ticket? How many years can we get them to buy the merchandise? So every one person that sits their backside on a Celtic seat, Celtic doesn't look at that as a £750. They look at that as a £7 to £10 to £15 to £20,000 investment that they want from that person. That's the reality of where Celtic are at as a business. They look at it as every single person that sits their bum on a seat is such an, well, from a financial point of view, they say that they're such an important part of Celtic and they're integral, and they'll give it all the fans all around the world stuff, and they'll try and make us feel their family. But when it comes down and when they're sitting with their suits on round the table, it will be a case of Chris Mackay will go, well, this is the lifetime value of a customer. That's the comment that he'll make, believe it or not. And that's the way they look at it. It is what it is. It's modern day football. You might not like it, but it is modern day football. £25 for a friendly. Come on, Celtic, says Stephen. Look, we're getting loads and loans from Man City again. Lywell is working his magic. Yeah. I have 4 kids. That's 4 of everything. 4 a season. It's a boot in the balls, says Kaiser. And it is a boot in the balls. I mean, I can remember when both my daughters grew up going to Celtic. And the only good thing is at that time, as they still do, they had the £50 season ticket, which went up till they were about 12 or 13. I think it was 13, isn't it? The £50 season ticket goes up to. So that does save you a little bit of money. But when it comes to it, we just want to see new faces in the door. there's lots of clubs around the world that are making moves in the transfer market, and Celtic are lagging behind again. But rather, Baz, I hear what you're saying, but that's the fans' choice. Yeah, it is the fans' choice. It is the fans' choice. My first pair of hand-me-downs came from my oldest brother Joe. They were Bahamas. Jesus. If he wants to get loans this year, it says to me that Brendan Rodgers will do his final year and walk. New manager to buy his players next year. I have said, let's just take our time and let's see where Celtic go with this transfer window. There's two important things that need to be discussed by Celtic this summer, and I think one has to be retaining Daisen Maeda at all cost. He spoke to the media back home in Japan, saying that he's looking forward to next season at Celtic. He's looking forward to trying to score more goals for Celtic. He scored more goals than ever before last season with Celtic, and he wants to continue that next season. So Daisen Maeda isn't looking for a way out the club, although there's clubs out there that are have an eye on Daisen Maeda and that are preparing bids to Celtic as we speak. But when it comes to the players and the manager, I think Celtic fans would rest at ease if they come out with an announcement in the next 3 or 4 weeks and said Daisen Maeda signed a new contract. He won't do that because he'll not do that until he's back to pre-season. So it's going to be a long month, and in that month there is the potential that bids could come in for Daisen Maeda. So we'll wait and see. And when it comes to Brendan Rodgers, if he hasn't signed a new contract this summer, remember that he did say that there would be some kind of talks between him and Dermot and Desmond over the course of the summer. Generally happens when he's in Mallorca, because they tend to meet up there or down in London. If he flies into London, you know that he's away to have talks with Dermot. He might even fly into Dublin, because remember last December, the board and Brendan flew over to Dublin for a meeting. That didn't work out too well for Brendan, because we still sold our main striker and didn't get one in. Merchandise is selling. We're the top 10 selling clubs in the world. That's why they bring out tops every year and everything. Yeah, it is. Well, but the thing is, an interesting thing that Leeds United actually are above Celtic in that ranking. They sell more merchandise because they've got a bigger fan base around the world, I guess. They sell more merchandise than Celtic do, which is interesting. And with them going back into the Premier League, I have no idea. I don't watch English football. But anyway, Rio, Kuhn, Maeda have all asked to leave, says Sleekit. So let's see what bargain basement garbage Lorwell rustles up from League One in Eastern Europe. It's interesting that you say, let's see what garbage bargain basement, because wasn't Daisen Maeda a bargain basement? Wasn't Rio Hatate a bargain basement? And wasn't Nico Kuhn a bargain basement? They were all under £4 million, and the big money wasn't spent on them. So it's going to be an interesting summer. Maeda's 27, 28. We are selling club. Sorry, Lywell is selling him. As a fan's choice, they're milking the support. Just like Mike Powers said, wouldn't mind if they spent the money in the squad and the stadium. They're always claiming money man dead. The stadium, I mean, does it need a bit of a facelift? I mean, they've got those posters around the outside to make it look a bit better. But I suppose it needs a lick of paint and the stairs and everything need all done. They used to do that every summer. It seems that they've went down to about every 3 or 4 summers with that now. Anyway, Danny Cassie's in house. Morning to you, mate. Wasn't Henrik and Lugo bargain basement? Yes, Joseph, they were. Henrik Larsson was 650 grand, and everybody bemoaned about him. This little person with dreadlocks who cost us a goal his first game. God, could you imagine social media in this day and age if Henrik Larsson had signed it in the first game of next season? Henrik Larsson comes in with his dreadlocks and Chuck Charlie scores a goal for Hibs. Could you imagine the meltdown online? Who the is this? Oh, bet. Social media would go absolutely bonkers. Anyway, we need to smash the front and build a new stand. It looks cheap. Tenement from the 1970s, even though it was redone in the 1990s, wasn't it? If you can't even mind the old Celtic Park, Jesus. I'm baking here. Dave Morton's in the pool. That's why I sit with the shutters down, mate. It's hot out there. It must be about 28 degrees already. Anyway, that's your Celtic news for this morning. It is all going to be about the new trainers. It's going to be about Matt O'Reilly today online and Victor Wanyama. He looks as if he's going to go back to Dunfermline with Neil Lennon. Neil Lennon, who is looking to get Dunfermline into the top league and back into Europe. Woof. Now that brings back memories for my father. Dunfermline in Europe. Wonder who the manager was then. That's right, it was Jock Stein. Oof. Could Neil Lennon do a Jock Stein at Dunfermline? God, who knows? Anyway, on that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.